Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Morse. I work for Salesforce.com as a principal solutions engineer working with our collaboration and community products. And today I want to spend some time showing you how Site.com and communities come together to make a more perfect union of your engagement tools. We're going to spend about 5 or 6 minutes going through slides, talking a little bit about a few things, and then we're going to get into an actual demonstration. We're going to build a Site.com page and surface it within a community. This is all about how to. This is all about getting hands on. And the good news is you have access to this technology today, either through a developer edition org or through your regular org. So let's get started. First and foremost, I need to show you our next slide. This is our safe harbor statement. What we're saying here is that you need to make your purchasing decisions or any architectural decisions you have on currently available functionality. Don't make any decisions based on some of the things that we show you. We may spend some time today talking about features that are coming on our roadmap. So we want you to base all your purchasing decisions on currently available features, and we'll clearly point that out as we go through today. Now, what's our agenda? We'll start by talking about Site.com and communities, how it fits in today. Today we have our Summer 13 release out. We're actually in the midst of shipping our Winter 14 release, which will be coming out sometime for you in October. So we're going to start by spending some time talking about what is a community and what makes up a community and how to surface Site.com pages in a community. Then we'll get into an org and we'll actually play with the thing. We'll build a Site.com page. We'll surface it in a community. We'll show you a bit about what's possible now. Then we'll talk briefly with a little slides about what's coming in our Winter 14 release. So let's think a little bit about philosophically how communities fit the bill. In the past, Salesforce has had customer portals focused on case deflection and customer self-service and the ability to keep track of your cases and issues and search a knowledge base. It was very process-focused, very siloed. We also had our partner portal and PRM. That portal was focused entirely on enabling your sales channel and letting people sell and service on your behalf. We've since deprecated those two, or we haven't deprecated them, we've actually replaced them with our Salesforce Communities infrastructure. It combines the best of what's in there with what's in Chatter and a couple of other tools that we'll talk about. But our motivating factor here is that companies all live in an ecosystem. You have your processes, you have your products, you have your employees. But the work that you do seldom stops at your front door. You engage customers, you engage resellers, you engage partners, both systems implementers and maybe others. Many people live in your company's ecosystem. And Communities is a tool to let you bring some of the great things you do on the Force.com platform to those people in your ecosystem. So let's talk a little bit about what a community is. In a nutshell, we took the code base for our great partner and customer portals. We combined that with Chatter style collaboration. We also combine that with the web content management capabilities of Site.com and a few other technical items that do things like improve the mobile experience. And that, in a nutshell, is one way to think of Salesforce communities. So let's talk about the role that Site.com plays in communities today. Remember, we're on the Summer 13 release now. This is the very first release of Salesforce Communities. And so what you can do today is fairly basic. Today, you can build pages in Site.com. Those pages live in tabs within your community, or they can be standalone pages. And we've added some features like authentication, IP restriction, and some nice carryovers of community headers and styles to make those things easier for you. So let's actually get hands-on now and spend some time building a page and putting it into a community. Now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to spend some time in a demonstration org. We're looking here at Cirrus's customer community. We're logged in as Lauren Boyle, and we're on the Chatter tab. And you can see here something that's fairly familiar. This community has the ability to go and work on cases, file cases, search a knowledge base. We might expose some of our custom processes here, like projects. We can also expose Chatter files. And we've inserted the Chatter tab into the community. And you can see here, since we're logged in as Lauren, that she has a great stream of information. She can go and look at all of her updates. She can go and look at only updates from people or in the community-leveled groups. She can look at file updates. She can look up at updates on cases or projects or any other process that she's following. This is a great way to start a community, is to have a nice feed of information right in front of your customers. But sometimes that's probably not appropriate to put in front of all customers. Sometimes if you're working with, say, a VP of marketing or a CMO, those folks view a customer community or even a partner community as a chance to engage people with compelling content and a great, wonderful homepage. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take this community and make it better. we're going to put a home tab in this community. And that home tab is going to be driven by site.com so that our marketing department can go and add content and make things better so that right when people get into the community, they can see this wonderful content, they can see these great things, and it's kept up to date and compelling and directs people to the right place in the community. So let's get started on that. Now I'm going to go into the Salesforce org, and we're going to look at a couple of things here. I'm in here as me now. I'm an administrator in Salesforce, and I'm under the setup menu. And you can see that I've filtered things down to the Manage Communities setting in Salesforce. If you have communities active in your org, this will be there. You'll be able to go in and enable communities and then manage communities and create them with just a click of the button. So we can see here that we have 4 communities defined. Now notice a couple of things here. Each community has both a Force.com site, driven by Visual Force pages, and a Site.com site associated with it. So you can use these Site.com sites to go and generate all kinds of pages and compelling content and offload some of that work of creating content to business users. That's one of the main goals of communities, to keep them fresh and compelling and to put some power into the hands of ordinary folks in marketing, in your partner or channel organization, or somewhere else. So let's go look and build a homepage in the Site.com studio. If I look at our customer community here, if I click right on the Site.com tab, it's going to put me right into the Site.com studio. Now, this is pretty much the same Site.com studio that we've sold for a long time as a standalone website product, but this particular studio is pointed right at the customer community here. And you can see that you can exit the site studio. You could flip over to other communities and do that sort of thing. But if you haven't seen the Site.com studio, there are a lot of resources on developer.force.com for you to get started. This is meant as a nice what you see is what you get type of environment for business users to go and create pages, edit content, and publish items, all without having to have IT intervene in their website. So we're going to let this studio drive our support homepage. You can see here that we have one particular page defined. We're not going to spend a lot of time building a page or teaching you how to build a page in Site.com. There are plenty of materials on that. We're going to show you how to take that page and surface it in a community. So let's get started. One of the new things that Site.com supports with the launch of communities is authorization. You can now mark pages as requiring a login or not requiring a login. This allows you to create pages that are public and are accessible outside of your community users to the general public, say a landing page or a community entry page or even a login page. You can also make pages that are only available to people who have logged into the community, and their data access and other things will be set accordingly. So if we look down here on the lower left in the studio in site configuration, we can see a couple of new features. IP restrictions came out in all of Site.com for summer 13. Authorization is a new feature that is only available in communities. So if we get into the authorization tab, we have a few choices here. Out of the box, you'll see no authorization required in Site.com. We can also choose all pages run by Site.com to require authorization, or we can have a hybrid approach and choose custom. We're going to choose custom here so that we can pick the pages that require authorization in Site.com. Now, if we go back to the pages we're managing in Site.com, you can see I've already created a support homepage here. Now, if we click the context menu here, you can see down in the lower right here, there's a little checkbox that says requires authorization. I'm going to tick that box. And so when we create this page, when we publish this page out to the community, only people who've logged into the community will be able to see that page. Others, if they happen to stumble upon the URL for this page, will get a message telling them they need to go log in and get redirected to the login page. So now that we've secured that page, marked it as requiring login, let's actually edit it here. Remember, we are now still just in preview mode. We haven't published this page. It's not out there yet. We have our own little web content management workflow that we're going to work in here. So I'm in the studio. If I double click our support page, it'll pop open this page in another tab. You can see I can always get back to the studio overview, flip back to my support page. I can get in and manage things like my images, my scripts. We can upload videos and documents, and we can create content widgets, but we're really interested in taking a look at this page. Now, I built this page with WYSIWYG techniques, so we're not going to get too deep into that at all. It's based on a page template. Page templating is a really powerful feature to enforce consistent branding and page structure in Site.com, and you can use that within a community. But we can see here's a little bit about the page structure. We came in and we edited a lot of this page. I can go and create more content in this page. I can edit this content. I can save this content. I can use the preview feature in site.com to see this, as well as an anonymous preview feature to support this. But what we want to do is remember what we did in our community here. We wanted to create another tab and surface this wonderful page as our community homepage, and then leave it for marketing to run the rest of it and to add content and to maintain it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Overview tab. I'm going to click this Publish Changes button here in the upper right hand of the studio. That's actually going to send the page out, publish it, make sure it exists on the community domain. So if I do that, it'll take me through a wizard. I can select what I want to publish. I'm going to just choose all of them here. You can see we've got templates, pages, style sheets that are connected to these things. I can go in here and get a confirmation, and then I'll add a note. I'm going to publish the support homepage for the first time. So if I click publish, site.com is going to publish this page and all of the related assets that it needs out to my community. It's going to be out there. Now, it's not in a tab yet. It's just floating out there standalone in a community. Now, if I happen to look at my email, I can see that I'm going to get a confirmation here that says your site was published successfully. Now notice that we're on the community domain here. Your domain will probably say mycompany.force.com. But notice this part. We're in the customer community, so we have /customers. And then this is a site.com page, so there's always going to be a /s before that URL. So if I copy that address, get back into my browser, you can actually go to that page and see that it's out there published on the community, nice rich content with links, etc. So now it's time to take that page and put it in the community. So since it's published, I can go and get this page, I can copy it. I don't need to be in the studio to do the rest of this. I just need to get into my Salesforce setup. Now remember, today in Summer 13, we can surface site.com pages as web tabs. Most of you out there are probably Salesforce administrators. You've probably created a tab for a custom object before. If you scroll down on the tab page under Setup, you'll see a couple of other types of tabs. We can certainly put Visualforce tabs in a community and let the Visualforce programming language drive one of your tabs. That's a powerful tool for application-like functionality. And we can use web tabs in a community as well. So we can point a web tab towards an external website like Yahoo or your public blog site. We can also use this tool to surface site.com. So if I click new to create a new web tab, it's going to take me through a few options here. I like to use the full page width here, and it's going to ask me the type of tab I want to create. Now we're going to use a URL here. We're going to call this the support tab, and we have to choose a tab style even though it's not applicable within a community, just because it's required there. We can talk about how high the frame is or what have you. It's good to put a little description in here too. So I'm going to tell us what this is. It's the customer community support home so that we know it's used in the community. Now it's going to ask me, what URL do you want to use? Now we're going to take that site.com URL and we're going to put it right in there. And you can go and surface this URL as a web tab and it'll point to that. One interesting thing that you can do here, though, for those of you who are a little more advanced users, let's say we wanted to personalize some content with site.com for the particular user who's logged in, we can always pass in query string parameters. So this is an advanced technique. I don't expect you to know this right off, but for those of you who've seen this capability before, we can put in some parameters here. We start with a question mark, and let's say we wanted to pass in the current user's profile ID. We'll put in profile ID equals, and we'll go get a couple of merge fields from up here. And we can go grab the profile ID. So every time this page is called, it's going to get passed the current user's profile ID. That seems a little esoteric and interesting, but what it lets you do is within the site.com studio, use the connection to Salesforce data to, for example, display campaigns that are related to only profile IDs we want to target. There's a lot of power and flexibility in this technique. So it's good to know, but it's not necessary to know 100%. So let's keep going. We're going to create this web tab. Now, normally I would lock down visibility for this tab to just community members. I'm lazy today, so I'm going to leave it on. And I'm going to click next and go through a couple of other options. We don't want to put this in any of our apps yet. We're going to put this tab in a community, so I'm going to uncheck all of those. I'm going to click Save. Now, if we scroll down, I have a nice web tab right here that says Support. So now if we go back to our Manage Communities screen, remember we're working in the customer community. We've created our tab. That page is under the tab, so let's put that tab in the community. If I click edit for the options for the community, you can see I have the ability to come in and define who's a member of that community. We can decide which tabs are in the community. There are a few branding options in addition to site.com that we can use. And there's a login page and email settings as well. I'm going to click tabs, and you can see here are the tabs that are in the community today. Remember all of those. Now we're going to go find that support tab. So I'll click in here, hit a quick S, and I'll scroll down, find my support tab. Now we want this to be the first tab that people see. So we're going to scroll up, put that right at the front, and we're going to click Save. Boom, we're done. Just like that, we've created a wonderful little tab for people to use when they come in. So let's get back into the community as Lauren here, and we'll refresh the page, and now we should see a new support tab here. So if I click on that support tab, we have a nice, branded, wonderful, rich text page controlled by marketing and other business users that welcomes people into your community. Now we can very, very easily change this. We'll see in a minute, but boom, how easy was that? Within a couple of minutes, we've changed our community. We've made it very, very compelling. We've inserted a nice line of news and updates and quick links to the rest of the community. Now, this content, in order to keep the community compelling, probably needs to change from time to time. It's certainly possible to connect site.com to Salesforce data like campaigns or custom objects using the repeater tool and other things. That's beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. But let's say that we wanted to put a quick blurb in here about our upcoming customer conference so that every time Lauren and other customers here log in, they'll see an announcement about that. And then they'll be able to go to other pages and learn about that. So what if we wanted to put that in the hands of marketing? That's actually pretty straightforward. All marketing people have to do is be set up in the site.com studio. They can come here into the site.com support page, and now they can very easily go and add page elements here to this page. They can edit what's on there now, but we're going to add more. So you can see we have a quick menu here on our page structure. If I add a page element, we can let these folks go in here and add content blocks and other WYSIWYG tools. We can add menus and breadcrumbs. You can see we can even add forms. So you can do web to anything type of forms, any object in Salesforce, just with declarative power right in site.com. We can also connect it to data. So if we wanted to surface upcoming events or the most recent campaigns on this page, we could. But what we're looking for here are these widgets. Now, widgets in site.com are quick little pieces of content that you can store for reuse across a website. So earlier today, we went and we created this wonderful little blurb about our Customer Connect conference, and it shows up right here in the widgets menu. And I can very easily add it to the page just by clicking on it here. So if I do that, and I get rid of the menu, you can see right here at the bottom, there's a wonderful announcement about Customer Connect 13. And we could edit that and have links to the registration page, maybe a form driven by site.com for registration. You can imagine the possibilities are pretty endless. But the point here is that our marketing folks are very easily able to go in and change the content on this homepage. So now we know we can preview this page. We haven't actually changed this page. So if we go back to the customer community and refresh that home tab, the support tab, we don't see that just yet. Because remember, site.com has its own workflow to publish things. We actually have to go out and click publish changes and go through that process again. And so I'll add this and I'll add a note about what I did. And I'll publish this, and that'll go into the history of the site. So we'll get another email about that, but it's pretty much instantaneous for us to see this. If I click that support tab again, we can see that that Customer Connect announcement is already live right there on the site. Changed by marketing with no need for IT intervention or checkpoints. This is really a quick agility tool for your community. Now, that's what's possible today. Again, we can go and create standalone pages, landing pages for registration, quick lead capture pages for marketing. Lots of possibilities there. But let's talk about what's coming. We spent some time in this in Summer 13 today. But let's talk about site.com today, or site.com coming in Winter 14. In Winter 14, you're going to be able to do several things. Drive the entire navigation experience. So if we look at our page today that's driven by site.com, only the items between the navigation bar and the footer are driven by site.com in a web tab. Now, coming in Winter 14, site.com will be able to take over the whole navigation experience and brand the whole page in a community. You'll start to see site.com evolve over the coming releases to get more and more powerful and do more and more in the community. We'll also see a few new widgets in site.com. We'll get chatter-related widgets to go and insert collaboration and community pieces on these. There are a lot more out there. I encourage you to go out and look at the Winter 14 release notes, get your hands on a pre-release org or a developer edition org, and try those things when they come out. But that's basically it. Now, remember what we did? We took a site.com page from ideation to conception to publishing, put it out there in a community under a web tab, and everything's done. And now our marketing department has a lot of flexibility. So, thanks for your time today, everyone. Really appreciate you taking the time to watch this. As we said, it's a really, really powerful tool that gets even more powerful as we evolve. I encourage you, go out there, get your hands on it, and try it, and post any questions to success.salesforce.com. Thanks.